To all you single parents out there, whether you're a single parent by choice or through separation, whether you're divorced, whether you're an ex-partner, whether you're pregnant and alone or currently engaged in a co-parenting relationship, this channel is for you. My name is Betty, your noble host. Welcome. On this platform, we do encourage all you single parents on the need to embrace self-love, practice self-care, and encourage self-growth even as you embark on the task of raising your children. Although I must tell you on this that you are not alone, you single parent. God Almighty is right there with you, by your side, holding your hand, infusing you with divine strength, courage, and wisdom, in order that you may raise your children to maturity and to what God has called them to be. Okay, so be encouraged in this. Before I forget, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Okay, thank you. Let's begin. So today I want to talk about the issue of adoption. There are so many people who are adopting children every day, whether they are single parents, whether they are, adopting because they're taking over the responsibility of a relative who died, So there are so many children being adopted. Maybe they're in foster homes, foster care. Now I want to say this to all you parents who have adopted children listening to me. And once you've adopted a child, you're basically a parent, right? Whether you're single or you're married, okay? So I'm talking to all of you parents out there. I want to tell you this. Once a child has lost a parent, or once a child has lost their parents, God Almighty automatically looks at them as orphans. Once these kids have lost their parents, God's eye is always on them, because he says he's the father of the fatherless and he's a husband to the widow. But today we focus on him being a father to the fatherless. Once those children have lost their parents, God's eye, I'm telling you, his eyes are always on them, watching over them, because now he has been left as a watcher to them, and he knows that they have got destinies to fulfill, and he has to. So you taking on the responsibility of raising those children who have been left, or no, even the parents don't even have to have died. A parent can just leave a child. They give birth and they leave the child there. So you who is adopting that child who's been left, either the parent died or they were just left as orphans, immediately you take the responsibility of raising that child. Immediately that child is in your hands. I'm telling you, God's eye is always on you. Because now you have taken over responsibility for that child. You know why he's watching you? He's watching you to see you being faithful enough to ensure that that child's future and destiny is fulfilled. And parents, let me tell you, don't be taking children you have. Maybe perhaps you are married and your husband lost a brother or a sister, and now the kids were left there orphaned. And now your husband has decided, okay, let me take these kids to my house. And you are pressed because of that, because now your husband has added a burden onto you, because you're the one who will be raising them anyway. So your husband comes with the children of his relatives to your home, and you have 3, maybe he has adopted 2 or 3 more. Now there are 5. Now that thing is pressing you hard. I tell you, let me tell you, do not allow yourself to be burdened in such a way that you start hating innocent children. I'm telling you, God is watching. God is watching how you are treating them, how you've received them, whether in hate or in love. God is watching you. So if you don't want the responsibility of raising kids who are not your own, you have to know how to communicate with your partner. whether you are the woman or the man. You have to know how to communicate with your partner. If this thing is a thorn in your flesh, if these children who have been brought to your house are a thorn in your flesh, say something. Say something. Don't keep quiet, don't frown, don't hate children who are innocent just because they've been brought in your house and you didn't want to raise them. And I understand. Yes, I understand. Maybe you don't want, maybe your 3-4 kids are enough for you to raise. You need to say something. You need to speak to your husband cordially and tell him, or her, or not just your husband. It could be the woman whose relatives died and the kids are left, and the husband is not feeling these kids coming to the house and living with him. If you are a man or a woman experiencing this wherever you are, don't keep quiet and hate children. Let me tell you, you might not even abuse them physically, because there are people who abuse children just because they don't want them there. But you might not even be abusing them, but in your heart has rejected them. I've told you, God is watching. And before you attract a curse in your life, say something. Tell your husband or your wife, I don't think I want these children. You know, let me tell you something, and this might sound very cruel, but I'd rather those children go to an orphanage and stay there rather than staying with you and you get to abuse them, because a day or a time will come, you start saying harsh things to them, you will start saying bitter things to them, you will break their hearts, or maybe you will just physically abuse them. And maybe it's not in your nature, but because you are pressed, but you don't want to say anything because you don't want to ruin your marriage, you better say something. I'm telling you, God is watching those children with a hawk's eye. And he's not playing about orphans. He doesn't play with orphans. I tell you, dear parents, God does not play with orphans. He knows he's in charge and responsible for them. And before you go picking kids, listen, dear parents, before you go adopting children, why don't you take a prayer position and ask God for direction? And this is where the adoption of children, maybe this, I've been talking about relatives, but I'm saying those parents who want to be parents, those ones who want to be single parents by choice, or they want to just adopt a child because they don't have a child. Let me tell you, before you go picking a child from an orphanage, I'd rather you talk to God first. And I will not give you those inner details as to why you should not now. But I will give you surface level details as to why. There are children who really, really, really need assistance. And they don't have to be, disabled or anything. They don't have to be disabled. They don't have to be sick. They're just special children that God knows this one is a special child. If this orphan meets with this parent, this child will fulfill their destiny. So before parent, you go adopting any child, talk to God, ask God, show me the child I need to adopt, a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. Who you decide this one is for me, that's the one I will pick. That's the one I will raise. And then after I have picked, let me tell you, after God shows you the child you pick, He will automatically show you how you pray for that child. Because there are children who come here with special gifts and talents, and the enemy just destroys their parents so that they can destroy these kids. So when you're coming to adopt, before you go and adopt, ask God, should I adopt a child in my singlehood? Or are you planning to give me a family of my own? You need to, before you start picking children, you might, and I'm not saying it's wrong, actually it's a noble thing. Let me tell you, dear parents, raising kids who are not there, it's a noble thing. You have no idea, and may God bless you all. You all who have dedicated your lives to taking care of children who are not who are not your own. That says a lot about you. It says that you are a kind person. It says that you're honorable. It says that you're caring. It says a lot. There are so many adjectives I can put on your head. There are so many adjectives that just relate to how beautiful and special you are for raising a child who is not your own. And may God bless you once again. But before you go and pick a child, ask God, Lord, I've been single for 40 years, 41 years, 42. Now I'm almost 50. Is it proper for me? Are you going to give me a family, or should I pick one? Because imagine you can I mean, it's okay to ask. There's no issue. It's not morally wrong. Go ahead. Please, dear parent, if you have to adopt a child, I would suggest ask God first. If it was me adopting, I would do that first. Then after God has shown me the child to adopt or children to adopt, I will prophesy their destiny for it to come to pass. Because you just don't pick them to feed them. They need spiritual food as much as they need physical food, material food or something like that. But you understand what I'm saying. Don't pick a child. Parents, listen to me. Don't pick a child if you have not yet spoken with your maker first. And I've told you, I'll just tell you the surface level reasons why. We are not going to discuss the deep things now. Those things require a one-on-one, okay? Not on camera like this, okay? Let me tell you, if you abuse a child you have adopted, let me tell you, God will destroy you. I'm not going to lie to you, parents. Because if that child is on their own on this earth, maybe their parents died, or their parents left them, they're also going to get they'll receive their own wrath. But you who have decided to take responsibility for them, and then you treat them like trash, like garbage. You know, there are some people who adopt children, then they treat them like house helps. This child is supposed to go to school, but you're treating them like a house help. That is so wrong. How would your children go to school and then this one you adopted doesn't go to school? It's because you hate them. It's because you don't care for them. And I'm telling you, this thing, God will destroy you. God doesn't play with orphans. Listen to me, dear parents. God does not play with orphans. God does not play with fatherless children. That is one area. That's one boundary he does not cross and does not allow people to cross. So if you want to attract a curse in your life, I'm talking to you parents who have adopted children who are not your own, who are not your blood. Children who are not of your own blood, you should be even more careful with them because their maker watches over them. I'm telling you. And you don't want God's wrath. I always tell parents, leave those children in the orphanage. Please. They are better off. And nobody is insisting that you take a child. It's not a must. That's the problem. We have traditional values here that make us feel guilty for not adopting children, maybe from our relatives who are dead. You make others feel guilty. Somebody will ask you, but those are your brother's children. Why are you not taking care of them? But let me tell you, if you know that you are not able to take care of those children, maybe you have a temper or you're just an abuse. Maybe you have a temper or you're always angry. I'm telling you, leave those children where they are. Leave them. Because God will destroy you. I'm telling you. He will not interfere when you're disciplining your own children. But when it comes to children who are fatherless, I have seen people whose lives have gone left because they treated people's children like trash and they thought they would get away with it. And they did not. And now it's too late to say, I'm sorry. How do you say you're sorry when you've destroyed the life of a human being? Instead, you would have said, no, I don't want to take it. Nobody would have you would not have been held accountable to their lives. Not at all. But you went and picked them. Then you started treating them like trash. And you expect God to just smile at you. No, he will not. He will destroy you. I promise you. If you want to adopt a child with a loving heart. Care for those children with a loving heart. But before you do go adopt, I have told you, dear parent, seek God's face. It is important that he shows you the right child or the right children you should adopt. And that is how it goes. Don't be so worldly that you go and pick anyone. Don't be so worldly like that. You just pick anyone. And you don't have to know their backgrounds, but don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Seek God first. Let him show you who to adapt. Let him show you who to help. I know why I'm telling you that, and I might not say it in this video for reasons that are legal, that are moral, but I will tell you, seek God first for him to guide you. And it may take time, a month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe a year. Maybe he's waiting for a child to be born. Maybe there's a child somewhere who is on the verge of coming into the world. And he's telling you to wait for that child to be born because he knows maybe the parents will not be there. And then he shows you, okay, that's the one you should take that one. But don't just go and I think this is the one. How do you know? Okay? Parents, I know why I'm saying that. Let me tell you of a story I saw on television, local television, of there's a mother who went to jail in the 90s. She went to jail and left her young son with her sister. She entrusted her son to her sister and told her sister, please take care of my son. I have a sentence. I think she was sentenced for a year or 2. So she left her son with her sister. Let me tell you what her sister did to her son. Her sister sold her son to the highest bidder. Yes. Her sister sold her son to the highest bidder. Sold her son to this couple who took that child, that son of hers, and what they did to that guy. He's now in his 30s. And when he was narrating his story, I was just crying because of what this couple did to him. What the torture they subjected him to. It is even a miracle that he is alive. And when he was narrating the story of how he used to be abused, to sleep naked, they used to spit in his mouth when they are disciplining him. He slept outside. He never went to school properly. Sometimes he would just be out there in the cold. They don't care. Why were they even adopting him in the first place? That's my question. And so when the sister, this was in the 90s. So when the sister came out of she was released from jail, she went to her younger sister and asked her, okay, so where is my son? And the sister was like, I couldn't care for him, so I adopted him. And she was like, okay, show me where you took him. And she couldn't. So this woman, or rather she didn't want to or something like that. I can't remember really. But I think she had to go on a journey looking for her son. A journey of 10 years, I think 10 to 13 years, to looking for her son. She couldn't function normally. She couldn't get married again. She couldn't she just wanted her son. 13 years of torture. I think 15 because of the 2 years she spent in jail. And when she was finally reunited with him, he was a full-grown man. And he was telling his story years later. And the mother was just crying and telling him, please forgive me. That I was a criminal. And I did this to you. And you know, some things, they have some situations, no matter how sorry you are, no matter how sorry you are, you cannot change the outcome. So this son was saying how he's not able to have to marry. He doesn't want to. And he had his own reasons, but it's so sad. It's so sad how people take people's children in the guise of, okay, we are infertile, or we cannot have children, so we want to adopt. And then the sister went and she received a lot of money. She sold off somebody's child. Sold somebody's child. Can you believe that? It was so sad. I'm telling you, what she has attracted in her life, that younger sister, that one who sold this young man, what she has attracted in her life, I pray that she doesn't have children, because those children will have to pay for what she did. And not just her children, but her children's children. I'm telling you, God doesn't play with the fatherless. He doesn't. And she thinks I'm sure she spent that money buying stuff for her kids. Can you imagine? Why wasn't she so quick to sell her own child? Why was she selling her sister's child? And imagine if a sister can do this to you. How about somebody who is not your blood relative? People are wicked. It's so sad. I felt so bad for that woman, but anyway, may God have mercy on their souls. I'm telling you, parents who want to adopt children, who are adopted children, if you don't want to raise children or who are not your own, maybe because you have if you have a temper, don't raise people's children. I beg of you. If you are wicked, if you know in your heart you're just wicked, don't go picking people's children. And imagine I'm talking to if I'm talking to the wicked, I know they can't hear me, because their souls are seared with hot iron. They don't hear a word. So let me talk to people who can understand me. Don't adopt children you don't want to raise, because of the wrath of God. It'll be so bad. It'll be so bad that you will wish you were not born. I'm telling you, you will wish you were not born. Don't go taking people's children in the name of it. And there's people who adopt other people's children so that they can have money. Oh, and then they go saying, oh, I've adopted this child, now I need help. So the help you get was supposed to be for this child you adopted. You go and refreshen your soul with that money or whatever gifts they give you. I'm telling you, don't ever in your life. And I've warned you, maybe it's a warning God put in my heart to warn you parents who have adopted children or are raising children who are not your own. You'd rather take that child back to where you found them. Don't be pretending that you're raising somebody's child and you're abusing them on the side. In fact, that abuse will be the end of you. That abuse will be the end of you. And you're going to put innocent people, such as your children, also under a curse. I'm telling you. Your children will just be innocent. But because of what you do to other people's children, now they will pay for your sins. They will. They will. And you would not like it. When you finally see it, you will cry. You will. You will. I'm telling you, dear parents, God does not play with innocent children, with fatherless children. with orphans. He places them in one category. Even if whatever, maybe your sister died or your brother died or a relative died, and they left these things to you, and they told you clearly, please give these things to my children when they grow up, and then you go and sell them. You're on your own. I'm telling you, don't take responsibilities you cannot handle. I am telling for those ones who are here, please hear me. You'd rather take that child back to where you found them. They'd rather be on their own. God will take care of them. God will know how to sort them. You will incur wrath if you touch those children. If you touch those children, you will incur such a wrath you will not come out from. Okay, dear parents, let this be a sober message for all of you. Okay? I thank you once more for your time and company, for tuning into this channel, and for pausing to like, share, and to subscribe. May the good Lord bless you, may He keep you, and may He make His face to shine on all of you and your children. Until the next time, my name is Betty, wishing you a blessed day. Amen.